guys, welcome to the Hype Attack Podcast, where we weigh in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype.
We're the fandom. We are the excited conversations we have with our friends about the nerdy things we all love and geek about. We are the Hype Attack.
I am the hype!
Have you checked your vitals?
That was for you, baby.
And I have to follow that?
Ride the wave.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hype Attack. Welcome to the new listeners and welcome to the old listeners. We're going to get into some powers in this episode. So buckle your seatbelts and get ready. But before we do get into powers, Doug is here. Isaac is here. Rudy's here.
Yo.
Buongiorno.
Hi.
We are all here excited and ready to get this episode going.
Clickety click. I'm buckled in, baby.
Before we get into this episode, how did you guys nerd out this past weekend?
I play board games. I had some friends over. We played Dominion, which is kind of an older deck builder game. I like it 'cause I was talking to my friend about how a lot of these games have multiple paths to victory, which is fun for like if you've been playing the game a lot. But a game like Dominion, it's kind of easier to teach to people because like there's one way to win, victory points. And then we played Isle of Cats, which is a fun, cute game where you're rescuing cats and it's kind of Tetrisy and you got to fit them on the boats. And then I watched a musical, Little Shop of Horrors, which is great movie if you've ever seen it, and it's fun as a live action or
they're
live
redoing
theater
it.
and stuff.
Feed me.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think Doug is our most well-rounded nerd
Oh yeah.
of the group.
Maverick Theater?
I didn't see it at the Maverick. This was in La Habra at
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I forgot the name of the theater, but speaking of Maverick, Kong is coming up. I think they're doing auditions right now for Kong. So if you guys want to see King Kong, I saw it last year. They did such a great, awesome, fun job with it. So
I saw Clue with you last year at the Maverick Theater, and they are so clever in like the stage design. If
Yeah.
ever you guys get a chance, the Maverick Theater is located in Fullerton.
Downtown.
Yeah, fun.
Anyway, how'd you nerd?
Thanks, Doug. I saw Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Very much a popcorn movie. I liked it. Definitely go see it. You have to see it in theaters. The things I liked about it had 3 Peters in it: Dinklage, Davidson, and of course Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime. It just nostalgia. It just scratches that itch to hear his voice saying "Autobots, roll out." And I do it terribly. Yeah. And all the supporting like there's always the human storyline, and it felt a little shoehorned in. Also, did you guys know that it was set in like the 90s?
Yeah, because they showed
Yeah,
the
'cause
Twin
it goes-
Towers and the that's the giveaway now.
Yeah. The era of it played a character, if you will. I enjoy that aspect of it. All the actors, Ron Perlman was in it, Michelle Yeoh, Cristo Fernandez, that you might know as Danny in Ted Lasso. He was a fun character. The things I didn't like about it, like it definitely
Shut your filthy mouth. Transformers is perfect.
it like Bumblebee.
Are you sure about that?
You sure about that? Like you guys all seen Bumblebee, right?
I have a
Yeah,
follow-up.
yeah.
I like
So,
it. I like
so
Bumblebee.
you're done with this. I have a follow-up. Go ahead.
Okay, Bumblebee, like it brought the Transformers back into this like serious, like heartwarming, heartfelt, the connection between the humans and the Autobots. And this tried to do it, and it did. And the moments that it set it up and it did, it fell short with like cheesy dialogue. You know what I mean? It's you'll have to check it out. But for the most part, a fun popcorn movie. The action this time wasn't like all over the place.
I was going to ask, could you see it? Did
Yes.
you know what was going on?
That was my problem.
Who was punching who? And
That
stuff?
is exactly what my problem was with all of the other, minus Bumblebee. Well, all the other was the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Is that it was all over the place. There was nothing that was choreographed.
Well, I want to say Bumblebee is when they actually added more color to them all. Like Optimus Prime was back. I mean, Optimus Prime always had color, but it was like that blue and red flame. I want to say Bumblebee is when they brought him back to like he was red and like blue legs, and like Bumblebee was very much yellow. I guess he always was, but I think just adding more color distinctiveness made it easier to follow who was punching who, and the camera wasn't shaking like as if they
Was
were
there
up there each
robotic?
other's taints.
Was there any robotic balls?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
It's
god,
not
that's
a
right.
Transformer
No,
movie. Clanking
but you know what?
balls.
But speaking of that, I always find it weird when I see any of the Transformers with like a mustache or glasses or an aviator's hat. Weird, but other than that, the action was choreographed and it was so fucking badass. The chase scenes, the fight scenes are super cool. What was I? What am I missing? I blanked out on something. But anyways, go check out Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
I heard there was like a surprise ending or something.
Yeah,
like that. No spoilers.
No
Fuck
spoilers
off.
at all.
Fuck off.
There's no end credit scene. There's a mid credit scene, and they set something up that I find pretty interesting and excited to see in the near future. And that's all That's all I have to say about that.
Please let it be a G.I. Joe versus Transformers crossover.
Well, let's talk about
Rudy,
that.
next to you.
Oh, man.
Back
There's
to you.
a lot to
Or,
talk about
you
that
had
going
a
on right
Quick
now.
before we move on. As someone who's fallen off the Transformers franchise, like I don't think I see the last night.
I haven't seen it.
And I haven't seen Bumblebee. Would you recommend this movie? You know, just push all the movies aside and just jump back in for this one, or
Push all but Bumblebee
Bumblebee,
aside.
you gotta watch
It's
Bumblebee.
it's not necessarily a direct sequel. Like you had to have watched it, but it's referenced because that one is set in the early '90s. With speaking of Across the Universe, oh my god,
Yeah. Haley Steinfeld.
Steinfeld?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's referenced, not heavily, but it is sort of like it's kind of like it feels like a soft reboot with Bumblebee. And if you haven't watched Bumblebee,
I mean, would you recommend Bumblebee just by itself?
I would 100%,
Yeah.
100% recommend
It was
Bumblebee.
definitely like a requel, but these were prequels, so it's like a prequel.
I do love
Yeah, I'm not Scream 6 where they try to.
love the
explain
new
all that.
Optimus Prime design.
Yeah.
It's basic. It's back
Better
to the
than
basics.
the original.
Back
Yeah.
to the basics.
Don't
Well, the
fuck
original,
with the originals.
movie one. But
Hold on, Doug went in on that one,
And they haven't even started drinking yet.
I do remember
Thanos
when they
copter would be
when they
mentioned
were
in this
talking
episode.
about Transformers when they were going to actually make the first movie, that they said that they actually tried to make them look like the original cartoon version of the Transformers, but they said it just didn't look right in the cinematic universe.
I don't think they fucking tried. I don't think they trusted the audience to even give that a go.
Yeah, because that was back, when I think they were just shy to go with those kind of that look, right? But as we've learned, I think people are okay with it all.
Yes, because I'm still waiting for like X-Men to actually look like X-Men.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that day.
Before we move on to Rudy, if you've not ridden the Transformers ride at Universal Studios, it's one of my favorite fucking rides at that place. So fucking good.
Really?
Yeah.
I wrote it. I've ridden it a couple times, and it was just like it's those seizure warnings that they gave me before, like rides like that. That was warranted. like I came out a little. I was like, okay.
See, but now we know why
Say
Isaac
doctor.
is the way he is. 'Cause he rides it.
Well, Rudy, on to you. How did you nerd this past
He
week?
rides that edge. Once again, work has been kicking my ass. Though I did indulge my wife's geeky side. She's a nerd for music, so I did see Avenged Sevenfold live at the Kia Forum.
Along with my wife.
Yes,
Yeah. Thank you for taking her for the night.
it was a good show. Their new album is so far removed from what they've done previously, and I dig it. Like all the earlier stuff, like there's screaming into a mic, is like I could take that or leave that.
Did they cover something recently? They had a cover, like a really.
Like a few years ago, they covered Malagueña Salerosa. Is that
No shit, really?
Traditional Mexican.
Yeah. That's Robert Rodriguez's band.
Yes.
Did that.
El Chingon.
Yeah. Super cool song. Featured at the end of Kill Bill Volume
Rodriguez.
2.
Yeah, there you go. But so that was fun.
Okay.
Jermaine,
So I finally,
He's dancing over there.
he was waiting for it.
oh no, because I was just getting in my head. I finally watched Avatar, the James Cameron. What is it? The Way of Water.
Yeah.
I still
yeah.
haven't watched that.
'Cause
I'm
it was
so
on-
behind.
Disney Plus, baby. But
Tell us.
man, if you like the first one, you're gonna love this one. I'm an Avatar fan. The blue one and the one with the arrow.
Did you see?
The
Sorry to
far more
interrupt.
superior one. Sorry.
Ubisoft did their big game thing, and one of them was a first-person shooter.
Yeah, it was
set
like
in that-
Avatar Frontiers
Yeah,
of
and There's like flying. and-
Pandora.
Yeah, it looks really, really
It
good.
looks pretty good. It
Was there a
looks
lot
good.
of unobtainium falling, oh
my God.
shooting around?
No.
And
They did have another
stereotypes for all the tribes.
ridiculous plot point of some item that the humans wanted to get in this too. But this one really showed, once again, the humans being an asshole. And you're like, damn, I want all of them dead right now. But story-wise, it was cool because you got to experience another side of Pandora. You know, of course, it's called Way of Water. So you get to see like the water tribe and all this stuff and how they function and all that stuff. And then you get the what are they called again? The
Na'vi?
Na'vis. So how they're trying to escape and they go to this water tribe to hide out, but they become like a part of this new family and everything. But man, the action, the special effects, the CGI, they did
Beautiful.
nail that water CGI. All that stuff looked good. That's the one thing James Cameron has been ranting and raving about is like the CGI and everything in that. I'm like, all movies need to look
In the
like
in
this.
the in the first one, the way that they did the water CGI was just dry to water, so they made it motions as if they were underwater. He's like, "No, we're gonna go full in,"
Yeah.
and had everyone submerged the entire filming
Yeah.
all underwater. Kate, Mayor of Easttown, Titanic. Oh my God, Winslet. Thank you very
yeah.
much. She was the one that could hold her breath the longest. I think at like I want to say 8 minutes, maybe.
That's insane to me.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I'm
crazy.
at like
Fucking-
15 seconds. so,
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was
yeah,
born with small
exactly.
lungs and have asthma, but I mean,
I put my head in the tub and fucking 2 seconds later, I'm like,
Did you have a problem with like the 60 frames per second?
No.
oh, I was just about to say because it wasn't all in. Like I saw it in the theater, and only parts of it were at that higher frame
Yeah.
rate. And I remember like the first time it
Flipped over.
flipped, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa! But I got used to it right away, and I could see why they did it because I'm not normally a fan of watching movies or anything at 60 frames, but it worked. I just remember seeing it and just like, this is so real. If it wasn't so alien,
Yeah.
like I would just be like, this is real. But
Exactly.
because it was
It
alien
just
enough, it
feels
was like,
real.
okay, this isn't real. It's not. But like, man, it was.
And the
good.
action, the
I was
mechs and all that stuff
Dude.
in there, like it's just phenomenal. And there's a moment that happens in the end which I can't say, but I was like, I can't believe this.
Yeah, that pissed me off. That pissed me off.
I was like,
It was.
this is happening right now. I was like, no, I don't want that to happen. But because he's making a 4 and a 5,
Half of
believe-
4. I think by the time of them finishing 2, half of 4 was already completed.
yeah. So I'm actually kind of disappointed I didn't go watch it in theater after I saw it, which I did want to, but you know, it was just that time constraint stuff with life and all that stuff going on. But I finally saw it on Disney Plus, and it was
fuck real life.
A-okay.
I swear to God.
Yeah, I know.
I hate it here.
Seriously, IRL can go to hell.
And a shirt is born.
The Earl.
All right.
So you guys want to dive into this Powers episode?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I'm fucking
his
chapping at the bit
superpower
here.
of bringing everything down.
I have the power of awkwardness.
Oh,
There you go. Did it.
that's for sure.
You're welcome.
All right, so who wants to kick this bad boy off?
Yeah, who wants to
I mean, I
dive
think
in?
we need to start with, I mean, the most basic nerd question ever is what superpowers would you guys like to have?
Okay, so let's refine it though. One power? Is there any limit to it? Multiple powers?
I mean, Jesus Christ. I didn't think I would have
A
to.
power. No,
No,
just
let's
one
go
power.
basic. A power.
One power. Like if you
I would have the
develop
power to have all
mutant
powers.
ability.
Oh, it's so clever. Suckers.
Sorry, we can cut
think
my
that one?
annoying.
No, I should have talked over it. Hit it with me one more time.
All right. One power that you would like to have.
Teleportation. I hate traveling. I hate the journey. You know, it's not about the destination; it's about the journey. Fuck you! I want to just get to a place and enjoy it. Right?
Okay, so-
I've carpooled. So I'm not done. I've carpooled with people, and it's fine. Rudy, you're a great driver. I have no problems with any of your driving, nor my wife. I have no problems. No problems.
Fuck all the way off.
I had no problems.
Fuck
What
all
was
the
my
way off.
complaint? I got zero problems.
First of all, now you have zero problems, but in private, off the air, you want to have all the problems.
Okay, break a little hard at times. I had a little bit of car sickness, but that was fine. So travel, teleportation, just being with blip, blip, blip. Man, that'd be fantastic. My legs would be completely useless, but that'd be fucking cool.
So I was going to wait to the end, but you brought it up because I was going to say teleportation also. But so for those of you that don't know, I have a degree in anthropology. I never did anything with it, but cultural differences and stuff still fascinates me. And I was very curious. I did a little Googling. I couldn't really find what I was looking for, but I'm really curious if different cultures or geographical location or socio-political, socioeconomic positions would alter someone's
Answer.
desire for power. Because we live in Southern California, so my answer as well is teleportation because traveling sucks in Southern California.
Or the flashes, speeds, or powers just to get somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not talking like powers to become a hero necessarily, but just powers in general.
Yeah, don't jump ahead.
Teleportation would. I mean, the only thing I saw, someone broke down, but I mean, it was some random site. I don't even think they were related to nerd stuff, but they had asked the question. And a good portion of the country was teleportation or flight or invincibility or something like that. It was like two really generic answers. But again, I don't know who they're asking. If you're asking any person on the street, they probably have 5 powers in their head versus you ask nerds and it's like, I got 100 to go through. Let me pick the one I want. But
We are those nerds that we're going to go through every single 100 of them.
But yeah, so I am curious if anyone's out there in sociology major or an anthropology major and you're looking for a thesis, there it is figure out if there's a cultural factor in determining what kind of superpowers someone would like.
Oh yeah, like if
Doug flexing
if there's
his
anybody
nerdiness.
out there from anywhere else than America, let us know what your ability would be.
Yeah. Anyway, so mine was teleportation.
Teleportation.
Mine was teleportation. What?
Rodolfo?
Rudy,
Well, goddamn, everyone took teleportation.
Okay, Jermaine.
You went
Oh,
with
no,
that?
I'm
I was
not-
in Southern
I'm
California. I'm telling you.
just kidding.
Fuck traffic. The other good one
you
would be
basic bitches,
Magneto's power.
which
where
are regular.
if you had Magneto's power, you could just toss cars out of your way. I mean, that's an answer
Manual power
also.
would be cool, but I have to go for Professor X's telepathy. I like having to be able to
I
read
don't trust
minds
you with
and,
that power.
and influence
Perv.
minds. And oh fuck,
Yeah.
oh fuck, we're getting weird. We are getting weird. It makes my nipples hard thinking about it. Like,
You
I'm
would,
gonna
you
tell
would
you this
wake
right
up
now.
in the middle of the night with sweats and just what the fuck, Doug? Because I'm, Rudy and I live in
my
the same
God.
house, and
Oh man, you don't want to read my mind.
no, I'd wake up and be like, fuck, I'm so thirsty, and I'm like, I don't want to get up. Doug just walk in with a glass of water. Thank you, Doug.
That's true, yeah, because he could push power.
Oh, but he's
the
gonna
thoughts
walk
of
in
his
like
sense.
ass naked though.
Stop adding bonuses to it, man. I'm already sold.
you just said get water. You didn't tell me to stop what I was doing.
It's happening.
Helicopters in, helicopters out.
Oh, he's gonna teleport in.
A superpower, dickopter.
Oh, you wanna mess with people's minds ability. Oh man.
You evil, conniving bastard.
Honestly, if you had that ability, I would have to dead you.
Unalive.
I would.
Unalive.
You would think.
Yeah, let's not get
I
I would not.
monetized.
Oh no.
Malcolm X is still sponsoring us, yeah.
Oh man. Oh, you basic bitches.
Anyway,
What would your power be?
yeah.
Honestly,
No, lie to me.
my fantasy has always been.
Hold on.
I like space stuff. Rudy, get out of my head.
There's multiple ways to get in your head, Jermaine.
I do
Space stuff. Expand.
I do like space and the cosmos. I've always been fascinated with those characters who can survive in space, like Silver Surfer, or let's say like Superman,
Miss Marvel.
or any
Captain Marvel.
Green Lantern.
Ooh.
like
Guardians
Green
of the Galaxy.
Lantern, but
Yellow
like
Lantern.
but that can
Adam
legit
Captain Comet.
survive out there without having like
The Dark Stars. Sorry.
Oh, no, keep going.
Star-Lord, but just for a minute.
I would just like to honestly like explore the cosmos and just see what's out there. Like just to be able to travel. Like I would leave Earth. Bye.
GTFO.
Bye bitches. I'm out. And I would just literally go explore everything. Like if I could go into a black hole and survive, I would do all that shit. Like I would just go to the deepest, darkest, furthest space, jump to, you know, another galaxy, but like explore everything that I could if I could survive in space.
I fucking love it. That's awesome. My answer was like, I want to teleport to the bar and back.
No,
That was
about
I
it.
would say that's
your
cool.
maybe
That,
better than us.
that's completely cool. But isn't that like an extension of teleportation?
no,
No.
it's like
I mean,
And
it's like
vulnerability
how
in
you
space.
do it.
Oh, okay.
It's just how you travel. Like I said, there's Green Lantern can survive in space, but he needs his ring. You have these beings that could survive, like the Silver Surfer, but it's because he has the power cosmic. Like if I could have the power cosmic, like if that was my one ability, oh my god, like I'm gone. Like
to Rudy's-
I'm not here at all.
To Rudy's point, like imagine like, oh, I can teleport anywhere, and like I'll go to Mars, and you just forget that you can't survive. You pop up with like the 4 other people that just got the powers. Like, oh,
Looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I didn't even get to see 3-titted woman.
You guys are all up there like Wile E. Coyote. You guys can't talk, so you guys are fucking riding. We're fucking done. Yeah.
Trying to teleport elsewhere.
Teleport us back.
I would want the teleportation powers like 5. Or is it 5 in Umbrella Academy? Because he also doubles as being able to travel through time. So, boom, fuckers.
Time travel would be. I was if I could honestly see how everything began and see how everything ends. Like that's been like thing that's just in my mind. Like I would just love to see like the creation of the cosmos. Like if I could just be there and just see it all happen and also how everything ends.
Watch the heat death of the universe.
I would love
I
it,
didn't account for this.
but I would still survive.
Yeah, I can't mess with time travel, man. It's so complicated. Like, I don't want to, like, warp back in time and, like, accidentally uncreate Jesus Christ. And
One of the more interesting comments I've read recently, probably on a meme, that's where we get our stuff, about time travel was everyone worries about traveling back in time and altering the present, but no one lives their current life worried about altering the future. Like, like every decision you make
That was a
now
degree in
also-
anthropology you had.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Alters the future. So yeah. Don't step on a butterfly or something.
yeah,
Please don't.
I'm gonna
Fuck
Homer
off.
Simpson the fuck out of that. And just start smashing everything when he goes back down and give him the fuck. Time traveling toaster.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite time travel like movie that you felt
was-
like, oh,
dude.
that feels like a correct way to deal with time travel?
Let's make that a small tangent because that can be an
No.
entire topic.
No, but I'm just saying,
on the
no.
board. Time
Yeah, yeah. I
travel.
was
I'm not
about to-
saying-
I was like, ugh.
Expand. I just said a movie or a thing that hit it that you was like, that's how time travel works in my head.
Just in a nutshell, there's like multiple types of time travel. There's like the time loop. There's the alternate timeline. There's like the everything had to happen. What was that movie? That show, Dark, the German show, with Mads Mikkelsen. That one was real brain fucky. It's like everything had to happen. I think Back to the Future kind of touches on 2 types of time travel. The one where like it has to happen. Also the one where you create an alternate timeline, Back to the Future 2, which is weird. They changed up what kind of time travel that they're using. So it depends on what you're talking about. I kind of
No,
like.
I'm just saying for you, what specific movie, comic, or anything that time travel you were like, that's how I think it would work.
Back to the Future 2, creating alternate timelines. And I guess what the fuck, Avengers, when did they time travel?
Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah. So the whole idea of like creating alternate timelines.
I loved
Because fuck stepping on a
Looper.
butterfly. You just make it whatever the fuck you want.
the one I really liked was Looper.
Come get me, time variance.
Oh, Looper.
Or
I haven't
TVA.
seen that
Looper
in
was
a while.
Looper
Looper.
was so good.
Dude, Looper was good.
I loved it.
I kind of didn't like going back to Endgame, where not Endgame, but the Loki series where Loki's kind of like they're explaining the variants and all the the branching and all
Sacred
that stuff.
timeline.
And he goes, "Well, why the fuck didn't the Avengers get plucked for fucking with the timeline?" And they're just like, "They're supposed to do that." Like that seems kind of like a cop out.
It is, but I kind of liked it though too because they recognize like time travel is a thing, and sometimes it has to happen. But it's still weird because it's still two time like there's like a
fixed
little
points.
bulge in the
Speed bump.
in the timeline.
Yeah,
Isn't that how they memeasured it? Like by the severity of the variation.
Yeah, because and again we're going on completely off topic, but in the Avengers they made sure to return stuff back to its original timeline so as to not fuck up and create a deviation.
Yeah.
Or else the TVA would have then stepped in and fucked the shit up.
Okay. Let's get back to power.
Wait. Everyone else got the answer? For me, time travel, the thing they got it right? Or
Yeah,
at least the way
yeah.
I like it, Doctor Who.
Ooh.
Because they don't really get too deep into the mechanics of it. He's just able to fucking go here and go there and do stuff here and go there. And every once in a while, they'll be like, okay, well, we can't change this. This is a fixed point in time.
Yeah,
they have to kind of maneuver around it. But that's just, writing and stuff.
Hey, right.
I do
Dr. Who.
like that idea of like the fixed points or the canon points that were in Spider-Verse or something like that. Like that, like if you're going to write a bigger story about time travel, like it's kind of cool that like that idea of like, no, this has to happen. You can't fuck with that.
Speaking of that, yeah. So Across the Spider-Verse had the canon events, which was stuff that has to happen, and then in What If with Doctor Strange is trying to go back and change everything. There was the fixed points, which were things that that were going to happen,
Yeah.
no matter what he did.
Yeah.
Also, Guy Pearce in Time Traveler. That was pretty cool.
Oh,
Remember that
yeah.
one?
Or yeah.
Time Machine.
Time Machine. Yeah. That one was cool. I was going to say, I don't know if I can really think of one off the top of my head.
So
that
many.
I did it right. But I will say, I do appreciate that they use time travel to explain the reboot of the Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams movies. I thought that was kind of a fun way to do
Yeah.
it. But anyway,
Superpowers.
superpowers. I mean, time travel is one of them. So we got into that. I don't know. Do you guys have another question? I mean, I have plenty, but.
Oh, you can dive into one of your questions.
I got a
Well,
question.
so, okay.
If you were to have a superpower, would you feel the need to be a hero? To just be a regular civilian with cool abilities? Would you tell anybody? Or would you go bad?
That's a really good question. My question was going to be, what powers would you need to become a hero or something like that? So it works together because if I had teleportation, not going to be a hero with that. That's literally going to be, I'm going to go to the bar.
Nightcrawler?
Yeah. Nightcrawler is a great example. And like a lot of the video games I play have that kind of blink ability, that quick teleportation, which
So
certainly,
just don't blink into a wall.
Jumper?
Yeah.
Jumper. They were kind of like, anti-heroes. It
But
was a weird movie.
I think, it's been a while. Was that Hayden Christensen?
Hayden Christensen
Oh, yeah.
and Sam Jackson.
I like the concept, but then kind of went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, it did. Kind of like us. I like it. I like it again.
I've thought about this a lot. Like, what powers would I need? And I know it's lame, but the idea of directly trying to stop crime or something like that, that's obviously going to be like, I need to be invincible and like super strength and everything. But part of me is like, I don't know, like turning invisible or super speed where you can just like get evidence or video and turn it in for like proper prosecution.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that could help out a lot. Or, I mean, the real thing that would help out a lot with crime would be Bruce Wayne's power in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm rich. I mean, that's probably the best way you can stop crime. But yeah. Anyway, you guys.
Oh, you're funny.
Oh, you got no. You asked the
that's
question. You asked the question, so therefore, I thought you already had your answer.
With my power of teleportation, even unless I had like, that's where these canon events come in, right? You have to have your origin story. It's like, I'm going to fight for the greater good of people. I don't know. I lived 33 years of life, and I'm like, fuck everybody. I'm going to do shit for myself. I might turn into a villain. I have 90% chance we'll turn into a villain unless I had some like origin story.
Well,
Yeah.
I love that they touched on that in Spider-Verse. And I purposely didn't bring it up during that episode because I knew we were going to be talking about powers here
Ooh, do tell.
with the Spot. And he touched on like, he couldn't get a job now. He looks like that. And so he had no money coming in. He almost had to go become a villain. And you see him at the beginning of that movie, spoiler alert, robbing an ATM. That's in the trailers. He's robbing an ATM, and he tells Miles this, like, or tells Spider-Man this, like, I couldn't get a job. I had to go do this. And so I think about that a lot too. Like, even if you had powers, like we live in, Southern California, you still got to pay rent, and it's a shit ton. So it's like, I don't even know if you could find time to be a hero.
Well, to quote Harvey Dent, you either die the bad guy. What's the line?
You die a hero, or live
Die
long
the
enough,
hero,
or
or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
villain.
I did it for comedic purposes, guys. I knew it.
Oh, it's so clever.
Oh, you're trash, bro. Honestly, for me,
Don't you dare.
if I had to be a hero, I would have to pull the like vampire or werewolf card.
How's
Because I
that?
would,
How do you mean?
like, if I was going
He
to
only
go out
wants
there,
to do it like one night a month.
if I were going to go out there to fight crime, and I mean legit, like, put myself in danger, I would need, for me anyways, it's either you're immortal and you could heal yourself, because you're going to get damaged regardless, shot to shit or
Yeah.
whatever the case
Stabbed,
may be.
kicked, punched.
But it's one of those things,
Raped.
like,
It's all in the mind.
I feel like if I was a vampire, I had the vampire abilities, the speed, the healing factor,
Sparkling
and then I
skin.
could just rip
Seduction.
your arm right off of your body, like almost like Hancock. Like, I would just go out there, I'd be like, "You fucking puny humans," but I would need to have that type of ability for like me to go out there and like legit risk my life to save somebody or stop this thing from happening.
Kind of begs a question then. It's like, well, how much do you care about society where you're like, well, I'm not going to get hurt, but if I am invincible and invulnerable, then I guess I'll go and help out. Like, where is the sacrifice in that other than your time?
You're asking, like, is Superman actually a hero?
Bingo, bango. He picked up on the clues. Yeah. Is he really a hero? What is he sacrificing?
His free time.
Yeah, his free time, basically.
Jesus Christ.
Super speed. Get it done, bitch.
See,
You can hear me. Is it coming from me?
With all these powers, though, would you be a street level hero, or would you be like one of those worldwide
oh no, I'll be
global.
worldwide phenomenon. Like,
tackling all like the global issues?
Yeah.
let me tell you this: if I was doing all that, I would have a contract with Nike. I would have my own TV show, my own cereal.
So,
Well, that's why I like how, like, The Boys and I
About to say.
think a few other
right here.
off, non-DC and non-Marvel comics have touched on that idea of, like, sponsorships and stuff, because you'd almost
Yeah.
have to at a certain point. And
everybody would
let's
know.
face it, the corporations would love it. But to Rudy's point, that is a good question also. What kind of crime would you go after? I'm telling you right now, littering. I don't care what powers I have, man, I would just patrol the parks, and it's like, there's a trash can right there, mother. I'm like hovering, laser eyes, burning.
Oh, I thought we were still focusing on you having teleportation powers.
or just teleportation, like pull up right up. Trash can's right there, motherfucker.
Oh,
I
those
would've
people that don't
murdered
pick up their dog poops.
I went a little extreme.
Pick up your dog
Sorry,
poops.
have you guys ever watched any of the Cartnarks Cartnark videos?
Yeah.
Where this guy roams like supermarket parking lots, and if they don't put their cart
yeah.
back in the
There's a good one.
in the corral, he harasses them and like, how come you just didn't take it over? Oh my god, I would just standing outside my store, just be like, put
'Cause I
the
do
cart
believe-
in the corral.
Because I do believe that's the guy that's on that Woody show that's in the morning.
Yeah, he's from one of the radio stations.
I'm also thinking, like, someone that doesn't use turn signals. I would just teleport into the
Yeah,
passenger
what
seat,
it-
be like, oh, this nice car doesn't have a turn signal. Teleport out.
Just hit the e-brake.
You
Kill
would
about
be like
10
one
people,
of the
but hey,
twins, like
taught him a lesson.
he would be one of the twins from the Matrix. He would just leave his car like fall
Ooh,
into
yeah.
the first car. He's like,
You don't know how many times I've wanted telekinesis just so I could, like, someone's driving like an asshole, I could just, like, take control of their steering wheel and just yank it to one side and just watch them go flipping off down
Yeah,
the
see,
freeway.
you would all go
see,
villain.
Rudy would be. I would have to kill him.
I think through what are we 8-9 episodes in, Jermaine has always proven to be like the fucking good guy. God damn it! What
it's-
pieces of shit.
No,
We
but
don't
it's
deserve
weird.
you.
Taylor Swift
But
is
it's
his bitch. I'm
weird
the
because
hero.
I always like the villains, but I would be a
Because you're
hero.
looking for a nemesis.
The only person who can handle me is me.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exception.
Jermaine, put your dick away.
Is that why you cried into the mirror a lot when you lived here?
Oh yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, you won't.
Or Rudy, did you have an answer for?
I think my power, the one that I would like to have, like telepathy. I think that would be a pretty good, like Swiss Army knife of things that I could go out and fight crime with, and like make myself appear invisible. So like you can just erase yourself from people's consciousness, like because if they don't perceive you, how are they going to hit you? Like you stop crime, like someone's trying to do something, like you don't want to do that. And, like, you don't want to
going to ask, were you going to be like nice and be like, don't do that, or like be fucked up and like if they're punching someone, make them like halfway through, make them think that they're punching their own mom or something like that, or like a baby, just really fuck with their heads and like never put it back, and they just live their criminal lives like thinking they punched a baby to death.
That's fucking awesome. I never went down that path, but I feel like I should now.
There's so much fun like to really explore powers. Off topic, I always thought about ice powers, right? People that control ice, and they always show these guys like making icicles, blah blah blah. Here's my thought: the human body is mostly water. You can walk in and just freeze everyone's brains in a room; they would just drop dead.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I've always wanted to see a character walked in, and they got ice powers, right? So they got to have that cold attitude, ice cold.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and just walk in a room and like snap their fingers or something, and just people just drop dead.
Again, 3 out of 4 of the hype attackers are villains for fucking sure.
I would have to
for the-
kill
I mean,
all
that
of
could be a
you.
hero. They can walk
No.
into like the mob meeting or something, like, "Hey guys," and then just
I love the ambiguity of antihero, though. You said it earlier, antihero, like Deadpool, where you get to actually unalive some people. Like, but Batman on this whole code and like no killing. Oh man, but they're gonna still do their thing. You gotta kill some people here and there. The litterers, the people who don't turn their fucking blinkers on.
People don't pick up their dog poops.
taggers.
People that pay in their checks
I
for exact change.
I'm an electrician or a contractor for the city of Anaheim, and so all the lights outside Disneyland are my things to take care of. And man, some of those lights, I'll fix them, and then just the next night, some tourist or drunk, homeless, or someone just goes through and kicks them all. Like that, I wouldn't need to patrol the whole world. I would just patrol Harbor or
Boom, unalive.
Catella. Yeah, just teleport them up 100 feet in the air or something. You like kicking lights?
Do you
Fall
guys?
on one or something stupid. I'd be horrible with catchphrases.
Who's your?
Lights out.
I do have to say, whenever Bill and I fix lights now, we were like, "Oh, you got that bright."
It's working.
Jermaine, no. You were gonna say,
Oh no, I was just going to ask.
but we were dumbly interrupted.
So that we can get like in a gauge of everybody's, like powers or heroes, I should say. Who is everybody's favorite character with their favorite power?
Nightcrawler. But he was just inherently good. He's a sweet-hearted guy, and even though he looked the way that he looked, and people hated him and shunned him for it, he like still found the good in people's hearts and like, oh, that's nice. I still would have fucking murdered people with your powers, man. Yeah, they don't deserve Kurt Wagner. But in the circus, they called him the Nightcrawler.
I don't know if like I said, I'd want teleportation, but again, that's just because I live in Southern California. I don't know if there was actually ever a hero that had those teleportation powers that I was like, oh, I like this guy. Like I said, a lot of video games have that kind of blink ability. The mage in World of Warcraft, which pretty much the only reason I ever even want to play a mage is because I think blink is fun. But as far as just favorite heroes, like I've said before, I really like Green Lantern, and just that idea of being able to create anything that your mind comes of. I mean, I would be hitting villains with so much giant dildos, just constantly, just so they can go back to their little villains there, go back to the Legion of Doom, and just be like, "Yep, dildo slapped again." Imprint on the cheeks or something.
They're all in that room with a dick print on their forehead.
Oh no, here comes Doug, look out!
Nice.
I have another question though. So, what world would you be in with these powers? It would be in the X-Men world, it'd be in the DC world, Marvel world, the Boys world. Because there's a show on Netflix called Extraordinary, where it's a world where absolutely every single person has a superpower to varying degrees, and if you don't have one, you're just weird. So, like, what world?
What is that?
Rachel's in the bathroom.
Oh,
She's
that's
taking
the
a
fan.
shower.
The water's running.
How many times have we got to strangle?
babe.
Hey, babe, what the fuck are you doing?
You can barely make out when you guys are talking in here. In there.
Oh.
Water here is like you can't. It's not distinct.
Chrono's dick.
It sounds like the
just-
principal from Charlie Brown.
Yeah, you perceive noise. That's all.
All right.
Okay.
So my question to you guys though is, in what world would you want these powers? Would you live in the X-Men world, the DC world? Well, the X-Men world would also be like the Marvel world, but it could be its own like isolated universe. The Boys world. I was just watching a show on Hulu called Extraordinary, where absolutely every single person has a varying degree of superpower, and it's weird if you don't have a power. So, what world would you want your powers in?
So for me, I'm going to answer my question and your question. One of my favorite characters with powers or abilities, I was trying to think about this earlier, because I'm a huge anime fan. So I'm going to jump into the anime world.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would definitely live in the anime world. That's a world that I could see myself in, especially the Dragon Ball Z, which I love. Vegeta. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. So for me, my abilities, it's like a ascension ability. I love power ups for you to be able to level up your abilities.
Ooh, good point.
I've always loved those characters when they push themselves to achieve another level. Like it's not a constant level that you're at. Like you can upgrade yourself.
It's like a muscle.
Yeah, like it's just one of those things. So for me, like I said, one of my favorite characters, Vegeta, and the world that I would probably want to live in is the Dragon Ball universe, which is Universe 7, if I'm correct.
Or
They also have a multiverse too. They got into that thing too. So,
Everyone's
but
gonna have a
I would
multiverse
live
these
in
days.
got them all diverse.
Universe 7, Dragon Ball Z. I would definitely have to be a Saiyan. Like,
Nice. I mean, I'm just such a DC fan. Like, it's hard to just not say DC. Because, I mean, if you're in Marvel, right? What was Marvel's rules? Like, everyone's got to have a character flaw or something like that. I mean, I got plenty. But,
You want me to hug you right now?
no. But yeah, DC world would be, I mean, because I feel like you'd always have, I mean, I guess Marvel world too, you always have backup, but I don't know, DC's got like Superman to back you up and be that beacon of hope. And plus, I mean, I bet you can have a hell of a good night in Gotham. Again, teleporting to the bars. I mean, yeah.
And
Go to Metropolis, get like a nice dinner somewhere, and then it's like,
head down to Bloodhaven.
Oh, yeah.
You'll catch Dick's ass.
Dick's ass. I love it.
Total side note, I think it's been like announced that he has like the greatest ass of the Bat family.
Oh, yeah.
It's been commented on.
I'm pretty sure it's DC wide.
Ooh.
oh, it's canon.
Yeah,
Yes.
didn't they do a cover of like all the Bat families and like Nightwing was like doing the typical girl pose, like the Black Widow pose where he was facing back with his ass or something? I'll have to look that up, but yeah,
I got lost in Dick's ass.
yeah. But also one of those worlds where you get sponsored as a superhero and you can make a lot of money and not have to worry about rent. That'd be great. Teleporting and not having to worry about rent. Jesus.
Is there any kind of like sponsorship like that in DC? I know Booster Gold in the future, he's kind of like a sponsored.
Yeah,
Hero.
Man, I love the Booster Gold character. I'm really glad that they're making a movie series movie. I think that was part of James Gunn's big announcements.
Oh yeah, he had one of my favorite stories in the Justice League cartoon that
Enlighten us.
it was like a big event was going on. The Justice League had to handle it. Like I believe, was it titled "The Greatest Story Never Told"?
That sounds like something Booster Gold would be involved in.
So he was in this battle, but he got like knocked off somewhere, and this event thing that was happening that he had to handle while this other big event was happening, but nobody knew about it.
I meant like explain who Booster Gold is.
Oh,
Because I don't think a lot of people know who Booster Gold is.
he's just I believe he's a character from the future. Hold on, are we?
Ooh, I'm looking at Dick's ass. Hot damn. I'm putting that up on IG.
From what I know, anyways, which I could be wrong, but he's just a like a failed hero from the future that comes back in time to like, I guess, what was it? To try to do things to.
He was a custodian at a superhero museum in the future. And he came across, I forgot the name of his little robot.
Skeets.
Skeets, yeah.
Skeets.
Kind of like a ghost from Destiny in a way.
Yeah.
And with Skeets, he was able to travel back in time and become a hero because he already knew what was going to happen. So he could be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he did know all the events. Yes, that is right.
But he was doing it for popularity.
Yeah, he was doing it because he
Yeah.
felt like a failure. He was just a custodian. He wanted to come back and be this big hero. And he always teamed up with the second Blue Beetle, Ted Cord. Like that always seemed to be like a team up for whatever reason.
Yeah, they got some pretty good stories out there with those two.
Yeah, I think they eventually did a story with Booster Gold. Ended up with God. Speaking of time travel, earlier, DC's big time traveler Rip Hunter. I think they had Booster Gold like in a team with that, and it was so fitting because again he went around saving.
I don't think I read that.
He's like saving the world, saving the timeline, all these things, but no one could know about it. And Booster Gold, his whole motivation was trying to become this popular, awesome hero. So for him to be forced to take on this role of like saving everything and not people not knowing about it, like was kind of an interesting touch.
So if you were to be a sponsored superhero, you would want people to know about your battles.
Maybe not all of my battles, like not my like inner demon.
Oh man, come on.
But I mean, like if I'm fighting like some cool villain or something, or that asshole that keeps kicking the lights over on Harvard, I want people to know about it.
In the DC world, like you have like the metahumans, and those are like people that aren't not exactly. They're not created just from science experiments, but they're kind of like mutants in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a big part of this whole powers conversation, and I know not everyone got to answer everything like that, so I won't go too far into it. But I mean, we do have to think about the idea that there's people that get powers because they're aliens. There's people that get powers because of genetic mutations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in the DC world, they're meta humans, and I think that's kind of just been chalked up to like genetic mutations, or I guess people like the Flash who got their powers from like an accident. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
In the DC, they're all meta humans. I think they did do a story where they basically discovered that the government was creating a lot of superheroes through genetic manipulation.
I feel like the boys kind of expanded on that too.
Yeah. That story came out after I stopped reading comics all the time, but I was kind of like getting like little snippets here and there of it because it sounded really cool. Because I think a lot of people like turned on like even Superman and stuff like that because it was like, oh, you were just created or something, and like Black Adam, I think was taking in a lot of people that were being outed as just created. I think Firestorm was outed as just being created. And
Oh yeah.
like there was a lot of, I mean, I don't know if they kept it in canon or what, because comics reset whenever they want. But
It created superheroes are weird, but who didn't answer as far as like the world?
See, I'm sitting here listening to your guys' answers, and I like that, but there's plenty of assholes in this world for me to fucking tear ass into. Like, I don't think I need to go anywhere. Like, give me a power and set me loose in a world with no powers, and I'll fuck everybody up.
But
and
see,
by that, I mean like save the planet, of course. Like,
Yeah.
But having fun along the way. But like,
Oh, you're gonna be a big target though.
yeah, I mean, bring it on. That's the whole point. Me with powers against a world without powers. I love it.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, there's plenty of stuff too beyond just litterers and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, like blood diamonds and pollution.
In your research, did you answer the what world would you live in?
Oh yeah, mine would be
Yeah,
DBZ,
Super Saiyan.
Anime World.
In your guys' research of superpowers and things like that, what weird powers did you come across? There's a fucking few. For starters, like just watch The Boys, and there are a handful of superpowers that are weird. Like the one guy that has a prehensile tentacle like Schlong
Wiener.
Penis.
Grayson.
See, but do you think it's weird, or do you think there's already been characters that can do that, but they just never went to that level?
You mean Mr. Fantastic?
Oh yeah, but there's plenty of
Elongated man.
there's plenty of characters that
Plastic
you know.
Man.
Yeah, Plastic Man. Yeah.
The Boys
We
just
all
takes
know.
it
But-
to another level.
Because it was like that's the only part of him that could stretch. Was just that.
Well, I mean, I think that goes into like you look at I know you look at X-Men, the mutant world, which I know is part of Marvel, but I always felt like those like
That's when I said it, I was like, oh wait, it is part of Marvel. It just felt like its own isolated.
yeah, I
universe.
really kind of sometimes wish they did just put X-Men on like its own Earth, because the whole story about discrimination and stuff, like I don't anyway. You know, there's people that are going to be born with a mutant power that's worthless or amazing, like a giant dick. But I mean, it's like the idea that everyone is going to be born with a mutant power that's like useful and somehow for fighting crime or being a villain is kind of unimaginable. So, but and to answer your question, I think I saw that used to be a mutant that could like eat anything. Or a guy that could melt into ice cream.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I was looking at it right now. I was like, which one was X-Men? Ice Cream Man. And
Yeah.
he was a villain.
Yeah.
The one that could eat anything, was his name like Matter Eater or something like that? Like
I'm not
he
even sure.
Probably
just
really on the
eat-
I just remember
Yeah.
seeing a
anything.
picture of him like eating like a lead pipe or something.
Oh, yeah, he could
I'm
just
sure there's one of those
eat
things where
anything.
you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
expand it to like he's eating the universe. We gotta
God,
stop him.
that name sounds familiar, Matt Eater.
But-
I don't know why.
There's one I forget what universe he's in, called the White Flame. And his superpowers are fueled by
The cocaine guy.
Yes.
Yes. And I want to say there was a golden age comic hero that kept a queen bee in his like belt buckle, and that was his whole thing, was to like release the queen bee, and then the swarm would come and like attack the villain or whatever, and then at the end he'd collect his queen bee and put it back in his little belt buckle. Matter Eater Lad. It tells me that it's probably
Lad.
from the Legion of
Legion.
Superheroes.
But
Noise.
yeah, there he is eating pipe.
Never too far from Dick. In the DC world, I think in like Batman's thing, there was the 10-eyed man. I forget what look that one up. I forget what his storyline was and how he's created, but he was created and he can basically see through his fingertips. But one part of the thing that I looked into said was like it made scratching himself really weird.
Or wiping.
How are you wiping? Then it gets
Sitting
Yeah, it's
down
on your
like a
fingertips.
normal
I
person.
mean, it's covered, but you're still.
golden finger yourself. Get some 2-ply, man.
How expensive that is. If
Use
anybody's looking to
to
sponsor the
Whoopsie.
podcast, we could use some
Cottonelle.
2-ply.
Do you not want your finger to slip into your butt? Use Cottonelle.
This is gross.
Yeah.
Ew, that's so weird. He actually has eyeballs on his
They're not
fingertips.
quite. They're yeah, like
Ugh.
not at the tips too. Like if you were to
On the pads.
yeah.
Ugh, that's so weird. It kind of triggers like my trypophobia.
So this is the thing with like
Yeah. I don't
like
it.
when they create
Get
a
off the screen.
character like that. Like
How bored were they?
well, what's the? I mean, I guess the thing is like there's certain powers that get created that work really well for like that story, and sometimes that's fine. But then when you are dealing with these larger universes or multiverses, it's kind of like okay, where does this person fit in beyond this? I was thinking about America Chavez in the MCU, how she can punch her way through the multiverse. Like that's a very powerful ability, but also very like niche. And so it's like most of the time in any sort of conflict, like no, America, you could stay home. We don't need a multiverse portal.
Well, she kind of showed that she can kind of dial it back down and like punch, like use that ability to punch through
so
something.
that's usually what they end up doing is kind of like, all right, they can use that power for more than just what it is.
Sorry.
Yeah, they give him like an extension of something else.
And then
within
they
that
had
power.
her training with the wizards.
Oh, good. She was training. She didn't need a fucking stupid pep talk, down at 0 hour that saved the fucking. I don't like those like plot points. In fact, going back to it, Transformers had a moment like that where it's like they were gonna lose, but then one of the characters had a pep talk in the middle of the battle, and boy, oh boy, he pulled through and kicked some ass. And like,
what if that was
you
a
gotta have that
superpower?
Rocky pep talk.
hey, that's pretty cool.
I used to think of a power where you can
It would
just
be Bob Saget.
where if you just look at someone and give them a head nod, they just immediately do whatever like is their main desire at that point. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stop looking at me.
Half the people you look at, is like, and yeah, it all be pervy. We all know what's going on.
That's what Doctor Strange did to Iron Man. He was like
No,
the head nod with
Guess
the
I
one
gotta kill
finger.
myself.
Yeah.
There's actually other options, but I guess I gotta kill myself. Canon event.
we're so off. Wait, what are we talking? I mean, we're still in powers,
fuck
but
you,
I
we're
don't
on
even know.
it. Oh, who had
we're
a
talking about weird
really
powers, yeah.
cool power was Crazy Jane and Doom
Oh,
Patrol. What a cool fucking power!
Yes, and the way they did it on
Wanna
that
explain it?
show.
Please.
I mean, where do we even start? Oh, my favorite was, I mean, I forget the name, but so Crazy Jane has like 32 multiple personalities
yeah.
or something like that, each one with a different power and with a completely different personality. And they did it so well. But one of them
The
specifically,
actress kicked ass
Oh,
in
she
that.
was so good.
Holy fuck!
Diana, we'll have to look it up.
Fernandez,
She was in
I'll look it
Orange
up.
is the New Black also. But one of the personalities, like her words would come out as like liquid metal in the air.
Just thinking that.
And like they did a scene where she like turned, she told someone to fuck off. I think it was like a Nazi. She literally said fuck off. And the words fuck off appeared in the air and then they fly at him and like slice the guy up. It's like,
Or she'd
that-
use them as a sword.
yeah. Oh man. And like there was like fire. Oh, there was a teleporting.
Yeah,
Fuck,
wasn't her name Blink?
Yeah. Her name might have
Yeah.
been Blink. Yeah. That was a good teleporter.
Diana Guerrero.
Yeah. Oh man.
Diane.
That's a
Gorgeous.
good power. Like, I wouldn't say that's a power I'd want because I wouldn't want split personality. But
Oh, man, she had a-
just
yeah.
such a cool way.
Yeah, check out Doom
to do
Patrol
it.
on Max. Her split personalities are really fucked. It stemmed from a childhood trauma thing, and I'm not going to bring us down by explaining it. Just check it out.
Yeah, and that episode where they really dived into like because her split personalities are like personified in this like other world. Oh man! It's,
Speaking of Doom Patrol, I want Flexo's powers, where every different muscle, once flexed, does something different, completely different. And there's a scene.
if you guys have not watched Doom Patrol, please go watch Doom Patrol. If you love if you even pretend to think
First
that you
season.
like comic books,
Yeah.
go watch Doom
I'm
Patrol.
going to attempt to explain this because it's just too fucking good. There is a scene in Doom Patrol where they're trying to get to this other dimension where the bad guy is.
The white space that's in between the panels of a comic book.
Bingo Bango. Fucking great show. Real meta at some points
Yep.
too. And so they needed the help of another superhero named Flexo. So they make their way down to the living street called Danny Street, right? And he says, all right, prep yourselves. I haven't done this in a while. And he starts flexing and everyone starts going, and they're looking at each other and they realize that he flexed the wrong muscle and made everyone have an intense orgasm. Even the living street started to shoot off the fire
I
hydrant.
think the street had a marquee that was just saying like, oh.
And everybody has just the biggest
Yeah.
God, I've never laughed so hard in a superhero show.
Yeah.
Other than season 3, episode 1 of The Boys, and I will fucking spoil this for you. So I'm gonna kind of preface it for a little bit. I think that this scene was inspired by people talking about Ant-Man could have killed Thanos. You know what I'm talking about? He could have shrunk himself
Straight
down
up the culo.
and then expanded and and exploded him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
could've.
they sort of did that in The Boys season 3, episode 1, where I think it was like the termite, and he happened to be a gay character, and his lover was like, "All right, let's smoke some cocaine, and then I want you to do that thing." So the termite guy shrinks down, goes inside his partner's,
Extra explicit.
and
Urethra.
thank you for being clinical about it, Rudy. And he sneezes because he snorts the coke and expands and blows up his partner. No.
Yeah.
That's right.
The best part about that was that wasn't CG. I mean the tip, but like,
No, yeah.
not the. I mean, he didn't blow up a guy, but the tip where the urethra is
It's just a giant.
was like a full on. They made a giant.
tunnel.
You know what I love
tunnel.
about it is that
Jesus.
the company that I work for was mentioned in that show. In that scene afterwards, like the Vought, right? Was like, oh yeah, well, Termite guy's not going to be able to do the sponsorship for Terminex. I'm like, hey, Terminex was mentioned in the weirdest way, following the weirdest fucking scene I've ever seen.
Oh, and he got crushed at the end of that whole party scene.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that bugged me. Just the idea of like being a shrink down. If you have a shrink down power, to
you think
just
that you'd be
end
like-
it by being crushed, just stepped
Yeah.
on. It's like you look at like some of the big heroes like the Atom, right? The Atom in DC has had like some big storylines and has done some big things, but like, yeah, someone could just step on him. Like if his ability didn't work or whatever.
Because as far as like shrinking abilities, the Atom's power is very, very similar to the Ant-Man, in which their shrinking ability is done by reducing the space between the atoms, the molecules, right?
So I guess it'd be really dense.
Yeah, you'd be dense, and you would retain your own, human strength,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So maybe you couldn't just get stepped on.
So I don't know why. Termite, sorry guy, you're getting crushed after you just blew up your dude's pee-pee. Where do we go from there? Fuck.
Well,
I'm on a weird road.
So Rudy, you mentioned how you'd want to have powers in our world, where you'd be like the only one with powers. So I have a question: like, what do you think would our world's reaction be to a Superman or just anyone with powers?
Our world.
Yeah, right now.
This
if it were to happen
reality.
right now, 2023.
Fear, ridicule, and drop the bombs.
Before we get into that, anybody watch the movie Brightburn?
No.
Did nobody watch the movie Brightburn? God damn it. Put that on your list.
Like it's the
Wait,
dark
wait, wait.
version of the.
Is that the one with the kid?
Yeah, the kid
Oh,
who
okay. I just
kinda
forgot
has
the
the-
name.
Yeah,
of that. I'm horrible
it's,
with names.
it's like Superman gone wrong.
Yeah, that was a good one. And they even teased like the whole like league at the end, right? In the post credits or
yeah.
something, they teased like a Wonder Woman ish character and all that. That was pretty good.
How would the world react? How would our world react to a Superman, someone with Superman like abilities?
Yeah.
Flight, laser vision, invulnerability, super strength. Are we assuming that this person, is a hero? Is he doing good stuff?
Yeah, let's say he appears on the scene doing something heroic.
Well, it would be two ways. I look at it like there would be the fear. Mm-hmm. Everybody would have the fear. Like you would have those Lex Luthor characters that that's like the jealous type, and the government, of course, would probably try to get their hands on this being, try to control him in any way. But then you would also have the worship factor.
Oh yeah.
So
Like
basically,
you would have people that would literally worship that person like a god.
so basically, the way that Snyder sort of portrayed his storyline to be is how our world would take it.
I really think so. I think Snyder did a really good job with that kind of representation. Because I mean, sadly, and not just in our country. I mean, I think citizenship would just be a question. I think, especially if this hero was going around crossing borders and stuff like that, like jurisdiction, all of it. Sadly, just from a legal point of view, but then at the same time, like someone with Superman's powers showing up on this planet, I think the fear level of anyone, especially if he establishes himself as a good guy, anyone that's doing bad things, I think that fear level would be insane. Especially if he established like, yeah, no, I'll fly to your palace, your bunker, and take you out. Like, it would be interesting. But I mean, I think even if they showed up as a hero, I think there would still just be that larger fear of like, okay, but does he stop? Like, what's his moral compass? What, like, okay, he saved this person or he saved the whales or this or that, but
would he ever have a sit down with press and actually, talk to us? Or would he just be this, superpowered blur just doing stuff and you would have to trust news to cover it correctly?
Yeah, exactly. There's so much. But then I've always thought, like, you would almost need two of them. If you had two of them, where one would keep the other one in line. I mean, unless they tag team or something like that.
No, you wouldn't know
But
that
if
for
there was
sure.
a fear of, like, as long as you could have someone to take out one if they go bad, then maybe I'd be a little more comfortable with it all. But I think ultimately I'd be a little afraid.
Oh,
I think power
there
corrupts.
for sure.
Yeah, I think power corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think that Batman had the right fucking decision to what did he say? If there was like even a 1% chance that he's gonna play for the other team, then you got to do something about it. You got to really prepare yourself, defend the world from this one person who could just wreak so much havoc. And I guess we're lucky that he's on our side.
Yeah, which I
Quote
think
is-
I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes about Amanda Waller's quote in Suicide Squad. Just like, we got lucky that Superman was a good guy, but the next one might not be. And it's like, man, yeah.
No, we would freak out for sure.
Speaking of Superman, if Superman didn't exist until like today, someone created Superman today, would it be eye rolling for someone to invent a character that just has every fucking power?
I think it's still eye rolling.
But yeah, well, yeah, okay. So that answers my question. Like, I don't eye roll as much now because he's like the original one, right? And so it's like, oh, back then, let's make a guy that can do everything.
Eye roll. It's always been that question.
Flex his muscle, you'll eye roll.
There's always been that question with Superman, because even with the animated cartoon and even the comics, like for years and decades, whatever you want to say, I've heard people always say that certain writers in the industry, they say they have a hard time telling a Superman story because he's just so powerful. And I think, no, you're trash. No, I'm kidding.
I think the word people used to use was like, he's vanilla.
He's vanilla if you look at it that way. There are compelling Superman stories, but I feel if you call Superman vanilla, then I feel you're going to have to look at all the other characters as vanilla, because regardless what happens, powers or not, Batman's going to come on top, right? Mm-hmm. Because he's the goddamn Batman, right?
He's a Batman.
So with that question said, it's just one of those things. It's the creative way of how you write it in there. Like how you would write Superman to be triumphant, or what is it that he has to get over. It doesn't have to always be like a doomsday type character that comes into play. Like,
I was just thinking that his villains.
yeah, but it doesn't have to be somebody like that. And how does he go around? One of my favorite scenes is in the, I believe it's the All-Star animated Superman scene where he was running around in the prison as Clark Kent, but he had to do things to not show people that he's Superman. Mm-hmm. So there's things like where he had to like stomp the ground to create like a crack in the floor to drop down. I believe the villain was Parasite that was in that prison that was going around. So he had to do things cleverly to try to like stop this situation that was happening. So I look at the situation like that. Like, you look at a character, like even Dragon Ball Z, like Goku and all these other characters, like they're these powerful beings, but you have to write them in a way to not their powers and abilities, but to kind of show who they really are. Like they're the hero within them. Yes, Superman is all powerful, but he's not the most powerful character in the DC universe. Like there's what's his name? Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like if he wanted to, Superman could. Like it's just
Demolecularize. Help me out.
Demolecularize. Hold on.
But it's just one of those things. Like I just feel as a like a comic book fan, a movie fan. It's you as that writer of that thing. Like you have to come up with clever ways to show, the threat, and it doesn't have to be a muscular threat. When you have Spider-Man, he's Spider-Man, and there's times where he's battling people in the city, but he's fighting people, but then he has to save people at the same time. And that's a compelling thing that I've always thought of. Like when you write a Superman story, like they always say you can't have a Superman video game because there's no point. So I'm that person that's always like, no, you can have a Superman game, but he doesn't necessarily have to have life, abilities. Like, let's say you're fighting Doomsday in a city, but you have to take out Doomsday, for example, you can't destroy a certain percentage of the city, and you have to save this many people, or if not, you fail the mission and then you have to restart. It's not like you cannot necessarily come up with a Superman game. It's just how you write this character in these situations. It's like, if he doesn't have life, okay, throw that away. What else can we come up with to make this game compelling enough that people are going to want to play it, like a Arkham Knight?
To use Diablo as an example, they've added some side little events where not only do you just got to kill like 30 demons like you used to in Diablo 3, now it's like kill 30 demons while keeping these 3 people alive. And at first I was like, what? No, I just want to blow some shit up.
Right?
Fuck off. But now that I see like, oh, I got to try to keep people alive, it makes a more interesting game. But what's interesting though is like the example you gave was to make Superman, this all-powerful hero, interesting is to essentially take away his powers or make it so he has to use them so like
Limit his
covertly.
powers. Pull his punches, so to speak.
That's kind of the thing. But I do agree with what you were saying, though. I think, especially a character like Superman, to make him compelling is to have these villains that, every once in a while you get thrown in the Doomsday or something that's just going to beat the crap out of him. But these villains like Luthor that are going to attack his image or break down that Boy Scout, that ultimate hero by maybe he can't save everybody. I think Superman, because of all that he can do, the conflict does need to involve that like saving people that trying to be everywhere all at once, and maybe he can't and he has to make those decisions. I think there is a good story to be told with them. It's just not always. And it's, I've generally always, when I was buying comics weekly, I would always get both Action Comics and Superman, and they were always pretty good. They were always finding some way to tell a good story, but nothing really super stood out.
Oh yeah, nothing mind blowing.
But I always loved him in like the big team up things because he was the pep talk guy, or that guy every hero wanted to be, because he was like this unfaltering and but.
I always love the dynamic between Superman and Batman.
Like what?
Like laughter on the outside.
To match the tears on the inside.
I don't know. I don't know if I can put it into words, but there's been some interactions between Superman and Batman where Batman as much as he tries to be the good guy, he knows that Clark, or that Superman is that hope that people need. He needs to, because there are moments where Superman is like down on himself. Even though he has all these powers, and you're right, he can't be everywhere at once. So it does I guess plague him that he wants to do more, even though he can do so much.
I question like right now we currently have that plastic ocean in the Pacific that's the size of Texas. Like Superman would just like heat ray that or something. I mean, I guess you just
don't burn it. Yeah,
you couldn't burn it, but he could like scoop it all up and like throw it in the sun or something like that. Like those are the kind of weird things that like the weird problems that we face in today's world that like wouldn't exist, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't
With
wanna-
any sort of groups of powers, like there wouldn't be a lot of these issues at all, right?
Like a Captain Planet.
Captain
You know?
Planet.
Some of the sweet mullet
my
that's just saving the earth from us.
Yeah.
You know, not necessarily people stealing shit. Because when when you were talking about like, you know, telling a bad guy to like stop hurting somebody, it's like, yeah, but like to use your powers to really correct their behavior, like would that be right? Would that be wrong? You know, because maybe would it be helping their traumas? Like that's what, you know, hurt people, that thing.
Yeah.
You know, like how deep it would just be like, nah, stop shooting that person. All right. And then they run off and then shoot somebody else. Like how deep would it go to control someone's brain, to push the thought in their head? How inceptionized would you have to get?
Like I said, just make them think they punched a baby to death.
Yeah, that's where you have to get creative with it. Like you have to
great power.
kind of play with it. Like you don't want to just completely rewrite someone's personality. You want them to find their way to the goodness or whatever, find their way to the right side of wherever they're going on their own with a little help, a little nudge. And there's some people that need to be fucking wasted, and you take those people out immediately, fast and in a hurry.
You put a little seed in their brain that whenever they think about committing a crime, 2 Girls, 1 Cup just comes into their vision.
I wish any of the
And it just
sounds was
disgusts,
sung that-
and they just get disgusted by just the pure thought of crime.
You give them the Demolition Man, where when they put him under in the cryo prison, they gave him a little brain education. Like if they felt they were going to be violent, if they were going to do something, that something would kick in, and like Sylvester Stallone's character, they taught him to knit. So he got a little violent, and he made a fucking sweater. Like, you know,
And then
Love
Wesley
it.
Snipes he just fucking can like hack like crazy.
yeah, teddy bears.
Shit, that's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Didn't Clockwork Orange do that? Like the main character.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah,
the
they
whole,
held
like,
his eyes
held
open
his
and they
eyes
brainwashed him.
open,
So
yeah.
anytime he wanted to commit like a violent act, he would become violently ill.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yes.
What's Clockwork Orange?
It's a Stanley Kubrick film.
Damn, you haven't seen that?
No,
Someone
I've never.
is looking for a case of the ultra violence.
I want to boo this man so bad.
No,
I mean, it's
I'll shame myself on that one.
Shame.
God, I don't even know how to describe that movie. It's a good one though.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe
Yeah,
that. It's
just,
a
like,
group
I've
of
always
hooligans
seen,
with cod
like, a-
pieces and singing in the rain and drinking milk, and they would rape people. And
Oh, yeah, it was really-
were they rob
ultra
them?
violence, ultra
Yeah,
violence.
just ultra violence,
line.
and one of them at least got caught. Oh, I'm forgetting the actor's name, and they brainwashed him.
It's Ian McDowell, isn't it?
The guy from Star Trek Generations who was trying to bring the Enterprise to the Nexus.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, but done in a very Stanley Kubrick way, where it makes you feel uneasy because this is a bad guy, but you kind of feel bad for him because you can't do bad things. It really fucks with your head the way Stanley Kubrick can only do. Yeah, you'll never listen to "Singing in the Rain" the same way again.
Oh no, like it's definitely one of those cult classics out there for sure.
So,
Moving away from rape, go ahead, Doug.
yeah, please. With the amount of time that heroes have been around with powers, and I mean, powers go beyond superheroes, right? You brought up Dragon Ball Z. Obviously, there's like the Force with in Star Wars, and we didn't even touch on magic, which exists in
man.
like DC,
Magic,
in Marvel,
mythology,
all
Harry
that.
all that
Potter.
stuff is
Yeah, the
endless.
God-given powers like
Endless.
Wonder Woman and stuff. Is there room for new powers? Like we before the podcast, we were talking about Stan Lee before he passed had mentioned how he came up with some new hero that with a power that no one's ever seen before. Yes, obviously there's more powers to be invented, but is there room for it? Because I do look at, especially in DC, where you have Superman that has everything, and then you have a character like Green Lantern, who I love, but he can create everything. And like you have Batman, who's like the ultimate non-meta human.
Yeah.
Like anyone else that's that comes up, like someone already exists or someone already does it that can do it better or they can do it and more. Like, is there room for a new
Yes,
hero?
there is room.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the event happening right now, like in the X-Men universe, but it's it could be like Sins of Sinister or something like that's going on. But anyways, Mr. Sinister, who is one of my favorite X-Men villains or Marvel villains, him and Doctor Doom are like up there for me anyways. But so he's creating these there's a mythological being that's called I believe it's the Chimera, that has like a like a snake tail,
head of
like
a lion.
Yeah.
I always
So
thought
it's
that'd be a cool name for like a secret organization. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But so Sinister found out a way how to evolve mutants into giving them 5 abilities. And it can't, for some reason, plot device, they can't go beyond 5. So he created this like mutant that has 5 abilities, and they've been going around the universe. Like I think it started in the here and now, but then it went like 1,000 years from now because Moira McTaggart, however you say her name, Sinister created all these Moiras, and when they die, the universe resets. But only Sinister knows the knowledge of what happened because he's trying to conquer the world and the universe. So every time he fails, he would kill one of them and then start all over because he knew these abilities. But X-Men has always been, for me, one of those places in the comic book universe where these characters' powers have always been evolving. Like they've always, had like these Omega level mutants. And with this day and age, I do feel like you can have another character that has the same ability as somebody else, but you can make it better.
There's definitely deviations of existing powers.
Yeah, there's all the deviations, and I feel like it's the world.
Derivatives? I don't know words. Continue.
Bossa Nova? Casanova?
Chevy Nova.
Supernova.
Cowabunga. Says
I
it
was
all.
just about to say cowabunga.
Cowabunga. Continue.
But it's just that creativeness of that ability. Like we've seen, so many times people find an alien ring and they get abilities. In the anime world, you have the Guyver. Like there's this unit that comes from space, and it transforms his whole body into this bio unit. And then you have something like a Generator Rex, or even what's his name? Ben 10, whose Omnitrix, I freaking love that cartoon, by the way. But his Omnitrix was just, you find out later on in the series that his Omnitrix was supposed to be a universal, like, translation device. Like, you could turn into these different aliens, and then you could be able to, talk to people in their language. That's what this Omnitrix was. But he used it as, he's transforming into all these different aliens, of course, with different powers. I thought that was like
That's pretty cool.
such genius level of a way to evolve something that we've already seen countless of times. Like, I always think about these stories and all these movies that we watch. They're just a cycle of stories that we've already seen, or, love stories. You have crime, revenge, but it's how do you come about and explore a new avenue in this ability or this power, or, my wife died, but now I want revenge. Like there's for me anyways, I just look at it, there's always room on that bookshelf of Pantheon, to create new things and new abilities, or even new ways to look at things.
Yeah. It makes sense. Actually, while you were talking, I realized, to answer my own question, like, I love Green Lantern, and there's a million of them, and there's 5, 6 human Green Lanterns, and they're all very, very different. So to your point, yes, there are ways to have literally the same powers, but just done different enough and told differently. And obviously you put a different character, a different person behind it.
Exactly.
And you get a whole nother story.
Same thing like and kind of to go into the next talking point is like the Bat family. They all have their different personalities, but how they go about being a Batman or Batwoman or Robin, the 3 or 4 Robins, is 5 or 6, or or just
it depends which canon and what time
is completely different. But also, because we've mentioned Batman a handful of times, do you consider Batman to be a superhero? And that leans into like
it's
the
a
super suits.
It's a super thing, right? Yeah, super suits would be another like I guess form of power, but
like your brains of power. Like fucking Iron Man's thing is like I'm smart enough to make a fucking mech suit.
yeah. I mean, Batman, I would say he's a superhero. I mean, even though he doesn't have powers, I think they've touched on he might have precognition or something like that. Or I think they just recently did a story where it was revealed that, but I don't think that was like a permanent thing. That was just specifically.
But
for
no one
that,
told him
like,
because he's
story.
like, oh, I thought I was because I was just Batman.
Yeah.
My parents are dead.
This is what peak performance looks like.
I consider him a superhero just from what he has been through and what he is, because he's just that character that, like, for me, my favorite Batman has always been like that year one Batman where he's like the MacGyver Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we got to see more of that. Like, I like who he's evolved into. Everybody knows him as that guy that needs that prep time, uses his knowledge, of everybody, and he has a contingency plan. There's always something in his utility belt, whatever the case may be. But I've just always liked that year one, I got myself into a situation and you got to look around. How do I get out of here? And to me, that qualifies him as like a superhero, because he's just that guy. And once again, he is rich, but he has all this money to
Really rich.
to create all these.
He's
gizmos
really
and-
rich.
He's a really Batman is really rich.
In the words from Dave Chappelle from the Chappelle Show, I'm rich, bitch.
So to your point with Batman, one thing I've always thought would be interesting, and going back to my previous point about like these heroes with very niche powers, I always thought it'd be kind of cool if Batman kind of had a list of like maybe some of these heroes that do have these like very specific powers and like called on them, right? I feel like Batman would be that kind of hero. I mean, Batman would probably try to do it himself, but I feel like certain times it'd be like, no, we need this person specifically to like fight this one thing. And so DC just came out with a comic book a couple weeks ago called City Boy. So speaking of like new powers, it's this kid that can listen to the cities. And I remember we joked about it a lot because it's like,
What
man,
a cool power.
the stories that a city could tell. But
Like
yeah,
what,
at
Doug?
first, where to find the good hookers. But
Do you think the cities have a personality, Doug?
well, I mean, so I've read the first issue right before we started this, and it seems like they do. And it was kind of cool because this kid's like basically kind of living on the street. So the city was showing him where money was like that people had dropped or other things that people had dropped. And
Is it
now
a
like
specific city that
he's in Metropolis.
Metropolis?
But word has gotten around like, hey, this kid can find anything in the city. They don't know that he's talking to the city, but like being able to talk to the city has allowed him to find anything in the city. And so again, it's just like, man, when I heard the synopsis of just like, oh, this guy can talk to the cities, it was instantly jokes. It was instantly like, man, what good is that other than just weird stories? But to see it used this way of like he could find anything, and then ultimately they revealed that he can kind of control the city. Like he was punching people and like the bricks and stuff were coming up and hitting people and stuff too. But
Is it so then in that whole thing, is it established that the cities are sentient?
yeah, so I think it's set up like, you know, some evil scientist was trying to say that, yeah, the city's
Fucking
had
evil
these things.
scientists.
I know, right? And then, you know, this scientist was going to sell this machine to a group of, you know, rich developers and everything like that. And then this kid happened to be, you know, in the basement when they were firing up the machine and like the
fucking
lightning.
kids.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a good example of, yeah, like a power that I never thought about. And
It's an interesting power. It's a new power.
And, you know, I don't know if his story will go beyond this series. But, you know, it'd be kind of cool to see him pop up in a Justice League. It's like, we need to know what Star City is thinking or, you know. But it's also maybe it's like too powerful. Like if someone's missing, it's like, I don't know, bring in City Boy.
You know what I thought of too is like, you know, we're talking about powers, right? Meaning like extra abilities, right? Super abilities. Like when I think of like the X-Men, it's like, yes, they have these abilities, but then, you know, Professor X, I can't speak. But then Professor X is like, cool. Let's weaponize it. And so we're going to train you how to fight. So there's like this whole sequence of like, you got to learn how to fight then if you're going to use your power, not just using your power, but, you know, in a fucking battle. So like when we're talking about like fighting crime, we're just reliant on our power because none of us know how to fight.
I can go to like the jiu-jitsu place down the street.
Montage.
Slapbox.
I mean, we got so much more we could talk about powers. I think there will definitely be a follow-up episode
Wait.
at some point.
I do have.
Well, so you did have
I do
something.
have one thing. No, but I wasn't going to bring it up. I was going to wrap it up. So I've always had this idea for a person. I don't know who. Like I haven't like fully fleshed this out, but they will wake up one day and they can heal. They can heal other people. They can heal themselves.
I thought of that.
And like they, you know, oh shit, I can heal, and they reveal themselves to the world like immediately. Like, I can heal you, I can heal you, and then the fallout from that, like as we were discussing, you know, superhero worlds and DC and Marvel and all that stuff. But I like having stories set in the real world where it's just that one person that pops up with an ability. Like, what do you guys think of that? Like what would you do if you woke up and you could heal anyone, or you could heal yourself, or you could just cure anything? Like, would you?
I'm rich, bitch.
No, they're in the show Heroes on NBC.
Yes.
There was a character. He turned out to be like the bad guy who could heal, but also could, you know, kill people.
Did this character also happen to be the same person from A Clockwork Orange?
It is. It really is. My God, the guy's everywhere. Yeah, it was. I think it was played by him. And I when I said earlier, like that, I did think of that because you know, we have. I'm not going to break it down, but like, you know, we have friends and family that maybe aren't healthy, and you know, whether it be like a bad back or whatever thing they're ill with, you just wish that you can just lay hands on them and heal them, and then they're fine. They don't have to deal with any medical shit or whatever.
I think
I am a good guy.
honestly, if that person were to wake up today, like you see all these things where people travel, you know, the world because there's, you know, some person that has the healing hands, or there's some healing waters, you know, or something, and then you see lines and lines of people. But I feel honestly like if somebody woke up like that, that person would be a threat to people's money,
Oh yeah, big
to the
pharma.
world. So I immediately see that person in danger. And if they were to bring themselves forth to reveal themselves to the world, and they started doing it, and it was real, that person's going to have to fight for their life for.
Oh yeah. So when I put myself in that position, when I thought about like, what if I had the ability to do that, and immediately I thought of just my immediate family, and I was like, well, if I had this ability and then didn't use it past my immediate family, you know, it's the whole with great power comes great responsibility. What I stutter on that. With great can't get it out. With great power comes great responsibility. You know, then I would be squandering it. You know, and it's like, fuck it. I had these things and I could use it, but then I don't. I'm kind of an asshole. You know, then you live with that burden of not using it.
But you'd also be spending your entire life using it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, you would
the line
never
would be
stop.
out the door.
But
and I
never
would
stop.
question, I would question if the world would, I mean, really with anybody, if any sort of power showed up, like would the world become a little bit lazy, irresponsible? Like, hey, I can eat whatever I want, and this guy can heal me, or I could live this lifestyle. I could jump off a building. And
You should watch Extraordinary.
Oh, should I?
Yeah, they touch on it a little bit, but I would come forth with my abilities. It would mean that I would be taking people's fates and their lives in literally in my hands. And if it were me, I would try to get to know them in some, covert way. And yeah, I would have to determine whether or not they deserved it based on my judgment, which kind of sounds wrong. Cause it's like, well, who are you to blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Whatever the fuck anyone else thinks. I give a shit about what I think. And so, yeah, I would try to, determine whether someone deserves it or not.
But I feel like if you...
Because by the way, it wouldn't be like, hey, how you doing? I'm going to heal you. You would just have to bump. The power would just be like you bump into them and they're like, oh my God, I am healed. Whatever. It's a miracle. Whatever they want to think. They don't have to know it's me. They just have to touch them secretly in public. Like I already do that, but then I get to heal people. It's cool.
See, but I feel like even
Not
if
a
you
bad guy
did
after
start
all.
with your family, just like how everybody, tells people certain things, and word gets out. I feel like if your family knew somebody, they would be like, oh, I have a brother that, and then it'll eventually spread.
But again, I
spread
wouldn't
wildfire.
reveal it. It would.
You would just do it secretly.
Yeah, I would just touch my family member without them knowing. Why are you laughing? And then I would heal them. Yeah. But I would never reveal myself in public.
I think if I had the
Again.
ability and I was letting people know I'd have it, even if I didn't need to do it, I would still do the Mr. Miyagi
Really do it up.
every time.
But
Yeah.
But also, like a good angle, I think that you could add to that character is when they do heal somebody, does it weigh a toll on them?
Oh, like Green Mile?
Yeah, like if you take something from them, does it affect you? Like, does it make you, oh no, I got to take like a nap or something like that? Like, I can heal maybe
Right,
like
so-
5 people, but I literally take that from you, and my body has to
Process
digest it
Yeah.
in a way.
And then spit it out in a swarm
But
of weird
now,
flies.
like I'm weak,
Yeah.
so it's just one of those things. Like,
Or
it's
even
all-
like it takes your life force to heal someone, and like where do you
the
draw the
Jedi.
line?
I mean, yeah, if you want to put the caveat on that, then yeah,
Where
I would
is your
absolutely
life
need
force?
to figure out who the fuck deserves this shit before I spit it out in some weird swarm of flies.
Yeah. Can you heal inner demons?
Yeah, you would be able to, because it's chemical imbalances, and yeah, I'd be like, ding, I had to touch your face. And now you're happy. Why not?
I would like immediately just set up an office and be like, all right, next, get in, sit on the table, take your pants off, and let's get to healing.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
$20 and stroke my ego.
Tops up, pants down, and you're healed.
The face up, ass down, or sorry, face down, ass up clinic.
Let's put a bow in it before it gets any fucking weirder.
Hold on, one final question. Why are all the electric superheroes black? Why is that?
because they're
It's
most
electric.
electrifying characters in superhero entertainment.
Okay, let's put a bow on it.
You guys, once again, we are the Hype Attack Podcast. Check us out at the Hype Attack on Instagram and TikTok. If there are things that we've missed, things you'd like us to talk about, because in the world of superpowers, there is so much to talk about, then hit us up in the DMs or comment section.
Yeah, this is an easy one to continue the conversation. Like, please let us know what powers you like, what powers you would want. If you love us, you would. Keep the conversation going, everyone. Bye.
Put your superpowers away for now. Let's check back in next week. Same hype time.
Same
Hype channel.
Hype attack.